This is Robert from Lean Sherpas, and this is a story from an organization that practices less. It focuses on how teams move through a sprint rather than on the flow of backlog items. Our goal is for you to understand how multiple teams work together during less events and how they coordinate day by day. In this first video, we'll explore how the teams come together for sprint planning, selecting items in strict priority order, distributing work, and ensuring they tackle the most important features first. Let's get started.
Good morning, Mark. The rest of Team Mosaic is heading to our whiteboard in the main room for sprint planning. Looks like we've got the table spot this time. Shall we head over?
Morning, Mira. Absolutely. Let's go.
It's time for Sprint Planning 1. In a large room, members from 5 teams are all working on a flagship product for trading bonds and derivatives. 1 or 2 people from each team are standing at a table while the rest of the team stands behind them next to a whiteboard. Sam, the Scrum Master of Team Mosaic and Team Nova, is also there. He's planning to observe and coach everyone as needed.
Hi, everyone. We've discussed 3 big themes in our product backlog refinement: German market, order management, and some regulatory reports. I've laid out the items you've refined in priority order.
Sprint Planning 1 is attended by the product owner and all teams. Together they select which items each team will work on for the next sprint and decide how they will help each other in terms of learning. Mira takes the highest priority card from the table, an item related to German market bonds, and reads it aloud to all the teams. Over the last 2 sprints, Mira's team has worked on related items, so Mira's team volunteers to continue with this. Technically, any team could work on these items because they were all refined together in a multi-team product backlog refinement. However, Mira and Mark prefer to keep going with it. The other teams are okay with that. Mira then reads the next item. This time, Tanya, from Team Nova, volunteers to pick it. She takes the card and places it on her team's whiteboard. Mira continues to read the following items, and for each one, a team volunteers to work on the card and item they choose. A few minutes later, Mira picks an item related to a regulatory report. Mark, from Team Mosaic, says,
This looks like an interesting item. We could also take this on as we still have capacity.
But then Tanya from Team Nova says,
We did something very similar in the last sprint, and I bet we can get it done quickly. But we're already quite full. Could we swap it for this German market item?
Actually, how about you, Tanya? Join our team during sprint planning 2 and give us a quick introduction on what's been done so far. You can help us figure out the design approach for this regulatory report. We're familiar with it from product backlog refinement. After all, we refined it together, but you have more insight into the current implementation. And based on the roadmap presentation we saw a few refinements ago, we'll likely see more of these reports in the future, so it would be great to have 2 teams up to speed. What do you think?
Tanya turns around, checks with her team, and they all nod in agreement. She then says,
Sure, no problem. Let me know when you start discussing this item, and I'll come over to join you.
After a few more minutes, all teams have reached their capacity and can take on any more items. By selecting items one at a time in strict priority order and ensuring the high priority work is distributed among teams, they avoid overloading any single team with too many critical items. This way, even if some teams can complete all their items, the most important ones will still be finished during the next sprint. They have chosen a total of 18 cards, leaving 4 lower priority items on the table. Paula asks if the group is ready to start multi-team sprint planning 2. Everyone agrees. After a break, all the teams move on to multi-team sprint planning 2. Here, they clarify the work that needs to be done for the next sprint. Each team uses a whiteboard for their own planning in a different corner of the same room. They begin with a multi-team design session that involves everyone, since they are implementing strongly related items. They discuss this together for about 10 minutes to set the stage, draw important items of the current architecture on the whiteboard, identify shared work, common tasks, and discuss issues. Once that's done, each team heads to its own corner of the room to start focused sprint planning 2. discussing detailed design issues, and creating an individual team sprint backlog with cards. Team Mosaic starts with their sprint planning 2 and asks Tanya to join at the beginning so that they can discuss the regulatory report item. Once they clarified their approach and how they implement the item, Tanya goes back to her team. Later on, they recall that Team Nova also requires an additional parameter in the authentication service. Time to use the advanced variation of the just talk technique, just scream. Mark turns around and yells across the room.
Hey, are you guys going to add this parameter, or should we?
Team Nova responds that the Team Mosaic item is a higher priority, so Team Mosaic should probably do it. Team Mosaic then plans the work in their sprint. If, during the sprint, Team Nova needs this change before Team Mosaic has done it, they won't wait. Instead, the work moves between teams mid-sprint. Team Nova would inform Team Mosaic that they are adding the parameter, and Team Mosaic would simply acknowledge and remove that work from their own sprint. That wraps up our first segment on sprint planning. Again, by picking items in strict priority order and distributing work across teams, they've ensured the highest priority items get done. Also, as we saw, the focus of sprint planning is not only on the item distribution, but on the whole product focus, working together and learning from each other. In the next video, we'll see how these teams coordinate day by day to develop and deliver working software. Stay tuned.